Hi everyone, it's Jenny. I'm just popping in at the beginning here to let you know that we recorded this originally to go on Alex's channel, ABD Illustrates. So if our introductions are a little weird, that's why. We were able to record this with thanks to our patrons, people like Devin Dawson, Jacob Lopez, Hukini, and Clearly etc. Thank you so much for your support, guys. If you'd like to see behind the scenes and concept art, as well as the commentaries for the next chapters of High Hopes or Rolls, then you can join them over on patreon.com/shriekingwizard. Hi everybody, welcome to this kind of not very much director's commentary of Chapter 0 of High Hopes or Rolls. I'm Jenny Budd, I wrote it, lol. I'm also the narrator, and now I'm going to pass to Alex, who you know, because this is his channel.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from this channel. And I did a bunch of the art stuff for this video, like the line work and things. And we also have Amy here.
Hello. I did all the colouring. I had the fun job. I just had to pick the colours and fill in the shapes because I'm 12. And
You're 12?
Yes.
12 skill.
12 skill.
Out of how many?
12.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You swore.
I did.
Subscribe.
Demonetized immediately for my crimes.
No coin for you, good sir.
No, I need to pay my rent.
Fuck the rent.
Oh no.
Subscribe.
This is such different energy to when I normally make videos. I love it.
Because you have other people in the room.
Yeah.
No, let's do this all the time.
Okay,
Anyway.
so I'm gonna... I don't know how you, viewer, want to work this as well. I mean, are we just going to play the video?
Frame 1. Is it frame 1? Yeah.
Yeah, this is
frame
the
It's the first one,
the
so
very first, the opening shot, the far and the isolated and icy north.
God, it's been like a year and the script is already.
Man,
Like-
I've watched this so many times that I just know the script and
Yeah.
I didn't even write it.
It's not very long, so I can...
Yeah.
It's very easy to memorize. So this is the ice. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the
It's far
spooky
in the
plateau.
isolated and icy north.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we needed to sort of establish
Cold and dark and
Yeah,
damp and nasty.
without actually telling you places and things, and kind of like establish a pattern of behavior, if you will, from the main villain, from Tiamat, whose symbol you can see there in the middle.
Also, you can tell because this is our first adventure into sort of this whole animation biz.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, this is in the far isolated icy north, but we don't need to show like a wide shot of a lot of scenery.
No.
You know, it's just like, oh, it's an icy location
Yeah,
for
Because
sure.
us ourselves also did not know
Oh,
where
God,
or
yeah.
what this place
Yeah.
looked like.
Overall, the theme of this will be, wow, we've learnt so much stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, having said that, like the broken flagstaffs and the spears and stuff in the foreground of the scene add a lot of detail, I think, that otherwise you wouldn't. He kind of gives this lived in, if you can say that.
Died in, maybe more appropriate.
Yeah, mhm.
Fought for.
Yeah, like battle worn appearance. Shrieking going.
Well, I was just saying how like well, I wasn't saying, I was gonna say how
Thinking?
I just remembered this tragic thing that I have only just figured out as the colour person. There's probably a proper title, but I don't have it.
Colorist, that would be.
Yeah, sure. You see like the parts in the frame where like the gradient is happening. Like there's like the bits on the side going up the is it an aisle? Is it stairs? I don't know. And then there's like a bit on the spire in the middle as well. I did that with a brush and I didn't do it with the blend tool.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know.
Well, if it's like somehow hadn't discovered the gradient tool until like after this episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Man.
Learning.
The
Literally,
learning curve is steep.
Towards the end of episode 1 is when I discovered the blend tool.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Long time.
Time
Anyway,
flies.
moving on.
Okay, and then we get in a little bit closer, some lovely snow effect there, and then, oh, it's the dude.
I should stress all of the effects in this video and in other animated parts as well, but all just green screen, royalty-free stock footage found off YouTube. Like,
I mean, it was our first go at doing anything like this, so it's all very amateur.
Yep.
But also, it's very good for amateur work.
I think it is a testament to like the fact that like you don't have to be studio quality right off the bat to
Hell
make
no.
something
Yeah.
that you can enjoy and that other people can
It was
enjoy.
4
Like-
people who made this, right? So you had Ollie who did the music.
Yeah.
You did you who did the.
Yeah, I
You
did
the line work. You did the storyboard. You pretty much did
Alex did
everything.
most of this.
I think it's fair to say I was the art department
Yeah.
on this.
You were head of art department.
Head of art department on this one, and then you were on
I
colours.
did the colouring because again I'm 12. Jenny did the narration and she wrote the story, and it was literally 4 of us who did this.
Yeah, so like, you know, I think that's a good thing for anybody watching who's like, man, I wish I could make that kind of thing, but I'm just like, me and like 2 other people are just like, oh, we want to make this, but we
Hell
could
yeah.
never. It's like,
You can.
fucking
Yeah,
can.
just, you just gotta get out there and start.
Just
Right?
go for
Also,
it.
it took us a month to make 1.5 minutes of footage.
Yeah, so it's like, don't expect to make it right away, but
Nah,
you know, if you're dedicated,
you need the time, you
and-
take it.
yeah, and again, if you can't afford to get like amazing premium assets, just find royalty-free green screen stuff on YouTube. Make a bit of snow with that, you know,
It's all accessible.
special effects.
So the snow covers this random Dragonborn. He's red because it's like the typical. I mean,
Bad
obviously,
guy.
yeah. It's
Well,
like
bad
there's
guy
like
colours.
5 bad guy colors,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? The chromatic dragons, but reds.
Oh, I thought you just meant like in general, and my mind immediately went to like Halloween colors, and I was like, yeah, a lot of purple, green.
yeah.
He's very smooth skinned, shiny boy. He oiled himself already.
Yeah, it makes him stand out from the background a lot. Obviously, Amy said earlier that you would have coloured him differently.
Well, yeah, I would have lowered the saturation in the red. I think I was worried about losing him in the whole
In this,
in the whole frame.
oh, okay.
So I was like, make him as bright as possible so you know what you're looking at. And now I'm kind of like, it didn't need to do that. He could have just been a red dude, and he didn't have to be like, here's some blinding redness.
Man, I've been staring at his back for a while now, and like, in general, I'm not a big fan of like the frill things on the side.
Like the fin kind of
yeah,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
the shape of the back of Dragon Ball. It's so weird from behind.
It really is. And this was like, again, this was like the first anything we'd made for this. So this was like the first Dragonborn I had drawn from a back angle ever. So it was
Yeah.
like,
There was no
I'm
warm-up,
sorry
it was
about
like,
your
here we
head,
go.
sir.
But also, what does that look like from behind? I mean,
It kind of does look like a dude painted in red wearing a headdress. I'm sorry, Alex.
Don't be sorry. It's like, yeah, it's a
We've
good job
come
that like
so
this
far.
frame
We have come very far.
is a good job in the episode that like this frame only lasts for like half a second.
Yeah. But it's like, also I wanted to like add more scales, but didn't do that.
Mm.
And then we pan up to the old Tiamat symbol, and then there's like some
Oh,
hands.
this was like
Yeah,
actually this would have been like the first sort of animated in air quotes kind of
Yeah.
part because the hands were moving
Mm-hmm.
on a separate rotation to the background.
I didn't like the way I coloured this. I don't like the colours at all.
I really love his like super great nails.
I know, I want them.
Oh yeah, they on
That's
fleek.
my aesthetic.
And like the vague red liquid, probably blood.
Could be syrup. We don't know.
That great
Confectionery
ice syrup,
goods.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he's just out here trying to make some slushies. Like,
And like all of our Dragonborn, like Nagar, are just topless in the snow.
Why not?
Why not? And
Oh
then
my God, oh,
that really
go back.
cool Tiamat in the sky. Hang on.
go back.
That flashes up there. That's so cool.
That's my
Love
favourite frame in this whole episode.
that. Oh, I can't catch this too fast.
It's so good and it's so clever and I love it. It's so edgy and
It's
it just
so ominous.
oh
It's great.
That was a real fun one.
I
to
love
do.
Tiamat. I shouldn't, but I do.
That was certainly another one that I was like, the payoff for this is going to be worth it, but also, I only just drew a Dragonborn from the back for the first time today. How do I draw a 5-headed dragon in the sky with lightning?
You did a real
It's a
good
lot
job,
of
man.
it's a lot of freewheeling and making stuff up as you go.
It's real good and it's my favourite and I love it.
Man. It makes me think about how like I wrote this script basically in one go. Like it didn't change very much from the first the first time I wrote it, like the paragraph of it's not very long, and how it was like the three of us in Amy's old kitchen, and it was dark. It was basically this time last year. It was like around November, right? It was cold.
Yeah.
We were like bashing out all of this work as fast as we could. Man, good times. Okay, let's keep going. And then there's a lot of black hydrosol rises
With
from
some
where the man
delightful
once stood. Yeah,
My boy.
hydrosol.
My boy. I love him so much.
Amy,
Again, I should not, but I do.
your unquenchable Dragonborn thirst will never cease to amuse
Don't
me.
call me out like this.
It's too late. It's happened.
I have no shame.
Man, this was great because it really gave us that excuse to like actually design hydrosol, like actually decide what
Yeah, 'cause we'd never-
liked for sure.
Man, he's so beaten up. Look at him.
Like, I'm sure in game, because like this is obviously all based on our D&D campaign, so like in game we all had our own sort of mental images of what he might look like, or whatever, but it was really cool to actually like pen it down.
This is what he always looked like to me in a
Hell yeah.
sense. Like, I know this is from the back, but like he just big
If you-
spiky boy.
Big
If you
spiky boy.
Go to our website, Shriekingwizardco, Shriekingwizard.com, I think, Shriekingwizard.com. There is a GIF on the front page of our development of hydrosol from the initial sketches into
Sure
what
is.
he is here, and it is really satisfying to watch.
I remember describing Hydrosil to Alex because I'm really excited to design him. Like, he's just a real big dude. Like, he's like 9 foot.
He's an absolute unit.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Could break your skull with one hand. Anyway,
He's the bad guy.
and Alex just like drew up this really quick doodle, and instantly I screamed, and I was like, "That is my husband. There he is."
And this sound like him that like bit of transformation that's marked by the crunchy bone noise.
Oh my god, yes.
Lovely crunch.
Crunch, which is really disgusting, but also not bones.
Yeah, no, that was because this episode was before we had the wonderful Ollie working on sound with us, so we had the sort of source sound effects, again, royalty free from YouTube, which again you can do evidently, but that particular sound effect that I found to use for his like bone crunchage was just like I think it said it was supposed to be plants, or some kind of plant
Or, like,
magic,
vines growing up through the ground. Or
yeah,
whatever.
something like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, no.
There's
There
something
he is.
vaguely wet about the crunch of it.
Yeah, it's
that
kind of
is
like there's a
upsetting.
slurp to it, and it's
Yeah.
like, ooh, it's quite upsetting.
ASMR.
And then
Tiamat edition.
he opens his eyes here, and it's just his eyes on the screen, and it is so cool.
It's so intimidating, and I love it so much.
It's great.
Oh, he's so
It is.
scary.
Amy's really weak for Tiamat.
Oh my
guys.
god.
It really is.
I need help.
Like the first.
And then we get to the map of Acadon, which is the world, by the way. It's not the continent. That's it right there. This is a bit of a collaboration to get to the stage. I am the dungeon master, if you didn't know that. So this is my original art.
Oh yeah, please don't steal.
My original piece. I mean, I drew it originally, and then, oh boy, we were like, oh hey, we need to put a map in
Yeah, it was
the
a bit of
video,
a-
guys, and I was like, oh no, I have to draw so many things, because I'm not a particularly organized dungeon master. I do like having it only in my mind. It's terrible. So there was a bit of an effort to get me to break down the map and draw it out in detail, and
I mean, certainly having everything in your mind, like I think everyone in the party can attest, like it works. We've had some great sessions out of it,
Oh
but then
my
we were
God.
like, we need to format this for public viewing,
We
and it
need
was
to
like,
tell people
oh
things.
hell,
oh no.
I'm gonna make this coherent. What?
This map has existed for so long,
Yeah.
and like it's so cool because none of y'all know where anything is, but we know.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to reveal a lot more place names and locations throughout the series as it goes, and
can't
there are
wait.
some locations I'm so excited to get to.
Oh, so am I, man.
Like,
I cannot wait.
I reckon there are some spicy ones in episode 2 that we're working
Ooh,
on right
yeah,
now.
So shout out to Beth for doing the digital translation of
Yep.
my shitty, my terrible maps. Okay, and then obviously Alex came in and did. Alex like stippled on all the trees.
Yeah. Well, thankfully I found a texture for it. I didn't have to do that by hand.
I really like it.
Can you
It's
imagine?
great,
Yeah.
and the texture around the coast and stuff.
Get yourself a map with texture.
Know where you're going.
And then it burns out into
Which was a pain of an effect to do.
Took 12 years.
It took so long. Like, inverting the colours of the map, that's easy. There's a button for that. But trying to figure out how to make it look like it's getting burnt with fire and stuff, bit tricky.
It's really cool though. Oh, and then we cut to Amadin. Amy's favourite frame.
Don't mind me. I'm just going to pack my bags and go sit in the sun. Not like sunbathe. I mean, I'm going to go visit the sun and disappear forever.
Oh. Bye-bye.
Like, as much as I've years. Like, I'm very happy with how this frame turned out, but it took a long time to get there. I think this frame took 5+ hours to do because I just completely forgot how I was doing anything, and literally every single aspect, every like chunk of like, so like the buildings at the bottom, they were their own layer, the buildings in the middle were their own layer, the whole college thing was its own layer, the wall at the back, everything had a layer, and I just kept like copying, pasting, and it was like layer 7, layer 7, layer 7, layer 7.
Yeah, because you named all of them the same thing.
I didn't name any of my layers, hence why it took me 12 years to get it done.
What I want to know is like how somehow, like, did you must have like duplicated your layers or something, because like they all ended up being called layer 7.
I don't know how I did it, but I did. That's kind of my technique. I just I just go in with my eyes closed, and then I look at the screen and I'm like, oh yeah, here's my mistakes.
Going
Let's
with your
fix
eyes
them
closed.
before Alex also has to deal with them.
Going with your eyes closed, always the best way to do colouring.
Yeah, man. And like, it just took so long. It took so long, but I'm real pleased with it.
It's pretty atypical of this episode for us, really, though, right? Like, this is our first major piece of scenery. We had literally no idea what we were doing. Amy forgot how to colour things in.
Again, I didn't know the blend tool existed, so all of the gradient within this frame, granted it's not a lot, but it is there, was all done by hand, and I colour swatched every movement that was within the colour.
And I didn't really know what Imaden looked like until we had to write it down.
Yeah.
I knew this sort of geographical feature where it's sitting on the peninsula point. I don't really know what you would call that, but I knew that about it, and I knew that the college overlooked the sea, which I guess looking back on it now is kind of like Skyrim. With the college on the cliff.
Oh yeah! Oh my god!
Which
a little bit.
I have literally just realised.
Not massively, but it's
yeah. And then the college didn't have a real name. It wasn't the Alabaster College until we actually came down to writing this, and I again put my thoughts in order and put them on paper. But it's great. It's really nice. I love it. I really did not have any clue what this place looked like until Alex presented me with this drawing, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's it!"
I remember like sending it to you,
being
being like,
screamed, didn't we? We were like,
"You're in my brain."
I was just like, I don't know if what this like, buildings. I don't normally draw them. This is probably terrible, and you're all just like, what?
And then we have this sneaky woman
we have ginger green hair lady
in the ceremony crowd. I remember seeing this frame in the drive and being like, oh well, yeah, that's cool. And then you put it in the thing, and the confetti moved, and
I was going to mention the confetti.
I was like, wow,
yeah,
so cool.
Because I think that's like having stuff in the air is a really simple way of like with debris, or if it's confetti or something, is a really simple way of giving it a bit more life. And it's a technique that I have very much enjoyed using throughout this project. Like,
again, I would have lowered the contrast on her cloak because it's very, very bright.
I think it's quite fun though, because we found a better way of color grading in general for the next episode. So like this whole thing, just a big old learning experience.
Oh yeah,
like on every front.
I should also point out that she's wearing a scarf here.
It's not a scarf. It's actually meant to be her hair. But I got confused, so I coloured her hair green.
The thing is,
but it looks like a scarf.
I didn't know that was her hair.
Yeah.
Well, once you coloured it in, I was like, oh, she's wearing a scarf. Cool.
I'm rewatching it today. Like, I drew the line work for this, so I should have known. Like, oh yeah, that's her hair. But I was just like, oh, cool, scarf.
Yeah. And then cuts to one of my favorite. This is like magic. When you show this to me for the first time, I was like blown away. She goes inside the college and down through the college itself, past the guards, the traps, and the golems. It's really cool. Like the whole pan of this. And each thing is again, it's a thing that we had to talk about and decide upon. I do remember Alex asking me what the armor the guards were wearing was supposed to look like, and just being like, I don't know. Armor. And like picking color schemes and things. This was kind of the first time where I had to sort of really think about that at all.
Like costume stuff. Yeah.
For everybody, and you can tell that in our, I think you can tell in our games going forward after we started animating this, you can see me adding in loads more details about the visual
that's true
things,
actually. Yeah,
because I suddenly
like in session
thought that I had to think about that stuff. Yeah.
And this shot was like, I think the first one where like, because basically with all of the shots, like I do them at the sort of size of the screen typically, and then sort of move the camera around within them. But this was one of the first ones where I had to stretch the canvas size a whole bunch to achieve the kind of shot we wanted. So it was a really cool sort of thing to learn on the go, like draw the first panel at the top of this one image and then scroll down and have all of these other things appear. Yeah, it's
very satisfying. Yeah. In the end, we went with, as you can see, the blue and the, I don't know, it's kind of feathered. I like it a lot. But blue and silver.
Yeah, because that's like, well, like the big bad is Tiamat, and the big good. The big good is Bahamut, and they are
I love that.
They are known rivals. So therefore, we were like, well, I was like, maybe the opposing team, maybe whatever you want to call them, should be blue, and that's what we did.
Yeah, it's like a really nice contrast to the Dragonborn we saw at the start of this episode, and also it's kind of symbolic. It's like this is the first move, right? Like this is the first instance of the cult of Tiamat doing something in the world. So literally, these guards are like the first line of Bahamut's presence in the world.
Yeah,
being attacked.
You know, when I was drawing this frame, I didn't think of it on such a large scale, but now watching it back and knowing that, it's like, oh, we got layers.
We are onions.
And past the guards, we go to the traps, which is represented here by this beautiful swinging blade again, which is also very Skyrim. Like a lot of Skyrim dungeons have these swinging blades that your companions just run into for no reason. I think this is like something
that sounds likely. What?
Yep. Sorry, my brain died there. This is the first like really hard animation thing you did, right, Alex? Because the screen is moving as well. Yeah,
because basically, like in the video editor, like all of these things were on different layers. So there was like this background that's scrolling, which was that long canvas I was talking about, and then the guards and this guillotine and the next bit are all on different layers, and they would sort of fade in, fade out. But this one, the guillotine, I had to sort of make. Actually, I don't think it is a guillotine. It's like it's like a pendulum trap. I'm offending all of medieval France right now.
All of history.
But yeah, so this one had to swing and move, which made it a bit tricky. It kind of had to be rendered as a separate video element and then put in, which is something I've done a lot more frequently with episode 1 and the episodes going forward. It's like second nature now. But trying to figure that out for this episode was panic mode engage.
Man, so much of this happened when it was just the three of us.
Yeah.
Man. I coloured this whole frame during one meeting that we had, because that's what I would do. I'd just sit there and colour while we discussed business, and that's what I did. Just sat and coloured.
Yeah, I mean, me and Alex would get on the train.
Yeah, wow, I can barely remember like meetings
and then come back really late at
like
night,
that early on that didn't involve everybody else as well.
Yeah,
I used to
So
make them
crazy.
stay really late because I didn't want them to leave.
I was super jazzed. It was a great time. Past the orb of deep
Mystery.
crimson solid crystal. If you have watched chapter 1, a lot of people have said to me that they think that woman is Rosa Zaradny. I'll let you decide whether you think that. And then we jump to like the crowd realizing dragons are a thing.
Highway
Cabbage Man
to the danger zone.
Has my heart.
Cabbage Man has Amy's heart for some reason.
Would you believe that he's holding random cabbage leaves because I didn't want to draw hands? Would you believe?
I don't know why, but I'm real pleased with this frame. Simply because I'm really happy with the colours that I chose when doing it. And you can tell that I just went in and did it. Like, I wasn't really overthinking anything.
Which is the best way to do just any art stuff.
I just sort of sat back and I really enjoyed colouring this frame, and like now I'm realising like I don't enjoy looking at people staring at Terra. I'm really pleased with the colours. Please understand, I'm not a sadist, even though it may seem so.
My favourite frame was the one where everybody was real scared.
I mean, the next few frames coming up are my favourites because of the colours. I like colours.
I also really like the shadow passing over their faces. It's really cool. And then dragons in the sky, people running away.
This also, should be noted, was drawn at a time when I did not have a grasp of the finer intricacies and rules of what consisted of a Dungeons and Dragons style dragon. There's a bit of variation here.
Yeah,
that,
very many inconsistent dragons.
Yes.
As a rule of thumb, dragons have 4 legs, wyverns have 2. So there's like a mixture here.
There's one that doesn't have any legs.
Yeah, it just...
Or
He's
so it
just a
would
snake
seem.
that
He's
flies.
just tucking those legs in.
Absorb.
It's the danger noodle in the sky.
The worst
Great
kind.
big terrible danger noodle in the sky. Into the Woods would have been so different if that was the lyrics.
Oh, this frame. This frame. So usually when I colour the frames, there's like three main layers that I do. So it's like the flat colour, the multiply layer, which applies the shading and the tone, and then there's the overlay layer, which is literally just a white overlay to do the highlights. I took away the middle layer, which was the multiply tone layer, because obviously everything's on fire, so everything's really bright, and I was like, well, if I just do really harsh highlighting, then the bits next to it, aka the flat colour, will just, look like it's
I was going to ask that actually, because it looks like it is shaded here, but that's just because you sort of
No,
really
it's because-
brightened the rest of it.
Yeah. Is it called
that's cool.
cell shading when you do like big chunks of like...
No, that's just cell shading's just the if you're doing it in flat color or painting it or not. So cell shading's just flat shading.
Oh, okay. Well, like basically, I just made it all chunky, so therefore it looks like there's more detail than there actually is.
Hell yeah.
Do you think if we had done this sort of thing now, that we would have put some background noise in of people being like, "Oh no, dragons, run away"?
Would have been real good because like Phil did a bit of voice acting in episode 1. He would have done some real good dramatic screams. I'm just saying.
So would Matt, to be fair.
I don't think it
Would be more shrieks. Let's be honest.
I don't think it even occurred to us while we were doing this that was a thing that we should do.
No, because we kind of left the because our original idea was
To leave this one as just narrated. And
well,
that's the
like we
only-
thought all the episodes were going to be like this, right? Where it was
Actually, yeah, we did, didn't we?
yeah, Jenny narrates the whole thing. We put some sound effects on, and we have the music in the background. That's what we thought it was all going to be.
My God, that's so weird to think that like having proper voice acting and stuff was just an afterthought when we started this project.
You say proper voice acting.
I mean, none of us are voice actors,
There's
but
only
we're trying.
one of us that is an actor.
We're trying.
Okay, so So this frame with the dragon over the top is great.
He has legs now.
Because he has 4 legs now. And also the old lady is great. She's great.
Her husband has abandoned her.
Yeah.
They're not married.
And he has no eyes. Nobody has eyes. They've all been burnt.
Yeah. No, love it. And then we get to
My favourite girl in the
Here
world.
come the heroes.
Here come the heroes.
Boy.
They
best girl.
rise from their seats with not with fear but with hope.
The fact that you can remember the entire script is still just like...
So you get Nagar's leg, Gwing's legs, and Torlin's legs
The best
Yeah.
girl.
with her jazzy pants.
She does have very jazzy pants.
And then our first shot of the party as a group. This is the original party from when we started playing the game, because this is actually this is the very first session we played. So
Starting off strong.
left to right you have Venzenia, Rook, Gimgar, Torlin, Gwing, and Nagar. I don't know why I paused there as if I couldn't remember their names.
To be fair, when you got to Gimgar, my brain went Gwingar, and that's not correct.
I really like this shot. It's really cool.
This is definitely one of those shots where, comparing it to our sort of methods of work now, I would have loved to go back on it and redo the line work in a solid pen. Like that's again one of those comparison things that's like just throughout the video, like line work, man. Don't use the marker tool for clean animation line work. That's my advice.
Torlin is real tiny.
She's so sweet.
She's pocket sized.
Yeah, man. But she is full of fury.
And then we cut to a few more of the party. Gimgar's in there too. That's Nagar, the buff boy.
Strongest man.
Strongest man in the north, yes.
Yeah, it's just Torlin is kind of like a sunbeam, and I don't know what happened.
I mean, that's
but
appropriate
she's-
for her personality.
Yeah, to be honest. But the overlay,
World's on fire. I better glow.
the overlay that I used kind of like made her skin a bit green, or that might just be my eyes. I don't really know.
But you did add in some texture on Nagar here, which is a big
Yeah.
difference from the first Dragonborn we saw
Yeah,
in the beginning.
get yourself a Nagar with texture.
I do love the way you do like the texture on like Dragonborn and stuff, like with the dots.
It's
kind
real
of.
fun. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I love doing it. It's real fun.
It's real satisfying.
Look at his muscles.
He is.
He's really strong, Jenny.
It's
need-
very hard to remember that he's like a strong boy because like he's also a big idiot, and that's primarily my focus these days.
Yeah, whenever I think of Nagar, I don't think like, oh, he can lift. I think like, oh, he's just a
Oh,
goof.
he's a soft boy.
Look at him go.
But he's not. Rock
I feel
hard.
like he hasn't actually got muscles, but it's just like he's just made of cushion, so he looks muscly.
I'm just imagining him like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man now.
He is the Michelin Man, just more finely toned.
Man, and then we pan out to the party facing down the dragon.
And this is with all of their like
Set colours.
preset colors before we made like official model sheets and stuff like that, so that we'd have like a clear point of reference to use every single time.
Outfits are the same, but the colours are more.
Yeah.
The colours make sense now, basically.
Yeah.
I love this frame. I love
It's
it
real
so
fun.
much. Rook doesn't have his hat.
Yeah. And also Venzenia's wearing socks with her sandals.
Yeah, because she's our nan.
I think when I was drawing this one, I wasn't sure if Rook would have had his hat yet by this point, but also I was like, I don't want to draw a hat from this angle.
No, I don't blame man. Also, Nagar's showing a bit cheeky thigh.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Man.
he's fashionable. What about it? It's couture.
We've all witnessed the horrors.
Alex, you pointed out to me earlier how symmetrical this dragon is. And
Yeah,
I'm unable to
Unsee
not
it.
see it. Yeah.
I mean, would you want to draw both halves of a dragon?
Nah.
Mate.
That's why I draw everything side on.
Just copy and flip.
I
You're
would
good.
struggle with the flagstones on the floor. Okay, let's not.
I
get
mean,
into-
same.
Yeah. Okay. And then that's kind of we cut. Oh, the dice. The dice will fall where they may.
Hell yeah.
Man, the noise of that dice hitting the table is so satisfying.
Real fun.
It's real good.
There were so many comments from people as well seeing this that were like, can we get that as a dice? And I'm like, dude, if I wish. Fucking,
Yeah, if we knew how to do that.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
hell
fucking,
yeah.
if we knew how to do that, we would all have a set.
Yeah.
Also, the color palette of this dice is actually based off of the set that I regularly use to kill you with.
Oh my god,
that's
it's
true.
the worst
Yeah.
D20 in the world.
It's
And-
actually my favorite set of dice.
Yeah, I wonder why.
No wonder.
Every time Jenny rolls it, it's above a 15 every single time.
That's not true.
It's like your
It's
own
true.
golden snitch, but purple.
so
Yeah.
good.
Every time she gets it out of the bag, we all kind of just die. I cry.
Both emotionally and in game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this is a really good line, if I do say so myself.
Oh my God, it's
I
so
really
good.
Oh, I
like.
love it.
I really like the dice will fall where they may, and also,
just
and
sums up
so the
D&D.
dies cast.
Oh, it's so like poetic cinema.
D&D.
I love it.
Spicy.
So good.
It's real fun though because it's like just like with the rest of the script, it really sets the tone for what we're like trying to do here. You know, with this whole thing.
Yep.
I love this little bit of music at the end on the.
On the credits.
the
Shout out to Ollie Moore for being a legend.
Ollie Moore.
There he is.
No, it's just like I love it because we were kind of like, hey, you know how Game of Thrones do that thing in their credits where they like do their theme song, but it's like nicer. Can we do that with like the High Hopes theme? And Ollie did it so good, and
It's so good.
it's amazing.
Yeah, make sure to go check out his SoundCloud, which is Mercury Music. It's great.
Do it.
You
Hell
can
yeah.
also all of the music is on Spotify. You can look up High Hopes of Rolls or Shrieking Wizard or Oliver Moore and find both playlists for the party and the music, the soundtrack to the show.
Give me the anime.
We want that anime, that anime style. And that's it
Works
for
that way.
chapter 0.
Hope that was satisfactory
Yeah,
to your ears.
Hopefully that gave you all a bit of insight into the very professional process that went into the start of this wonderful
Just
journey that High Hopes has
so-
become.
Just so good. so good at animate.
It's especially noticeable now, like looking back and going
Yeah.
through every frame like this, that it's just like, wow, we were really flying blind there, but it works, you know?
It's good. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah,
so
I'm
am I,
very
man.
proud of you guys and all the work you did. You worked really hard on this.
No, you worked really hard.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
You know who did work really hard on this? Your mum.
Oh, Amy, my
Oh.
mum had nothing to do with it.
No.
Susan.
Susan.
Okay.
Anyway, that's probably a wrap.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Join us
Bye.
for another
Like
one, maybe.
and subscribe or something.
I'd
Subscribe,
literally
do
never
the
say
thing.
that in my videos, but please go ahead.